Hey everyone, a Nerd Day Mark here. Before I get into my review of episode 25 of Kamen Rider Geats, we got to talk about this amazing Tycoon ID Core beanie. Obviously, returning guest of the podcast who's been on a few times, K20 Customs. The order just came in. It's amazing. The patches, delicious. I mean, I'm still working on placing all the ones that I got before on some items of clothing because I suck at sewing. But I got the beanie in, not just the Tycoon ID core. We got a blade one also, which delicious. If you haven't already, go hit him up on Twitter, Instagram. He streams on Twitch. He's got the Etsy store, patches, the quality and the price. You can't beat it. So go check out K20 Customs, place an order, and just, yeah. Something about this Geats episode didn't hit the same. Now, I know we had the clip show last week. I honestly wasn't even going to do a review for the clip show, but we were given some little nuggets of new information. And I know this is technically, after the clip show, the new arc starting, which is the Jamato Grand Prix arc. Uh, it outside of a few new revelations in the plot and story for characters and learning more about the future, uh, there wasn't really a lot to this episode. But I don't think it was a filler episode because a filler episode is kind of just there to buy time. This is the setting up stages. I mean, because obviously the scans have been out. This is that Geats is getting the Boost Mark II form, so we already know about that. Um, so I was kind of hoping after the way last week's episode, we'd start off this episode with more of the fighting between the supporters and Baroba, but that's already we're already past that. We do get some flashbacks of it when Gene and Ace are talking, and Gene says, hey, we couldn't retrieve the driver from Baroba. I do uh find it funny, not funny, but it's interesting that the fact that the whole Jamato Garden has been destroyed, but we get a few remaining ones that are now going to be the participants in the Jamato Grand Prix, which I think is cool because there's so many Jamato. It's like, no, now we have a few of the returning like boss style ones. We get two Jamato riders, and obviously Michinaga Azuma's still there. Uh, so they're given the like these bells, like Oni bells, which now the Commoner I believe have to retrieve to eliminate them. I didn't really like fully pick up on what was being said because I was kind of distracted, and honestly, it was kind of a lull. Uh, and I'm trying to think what it is. We learning more about. Oh, I hit my mic too. Learning more about the Jamato and their evolution over time has been very intriguing to me because now we learn that thanks to Daichi, there was an interaction between Michinaga and Toru, and it was actually a Jamato imitating him. And we find out via Daichi that like they are not just impersonating, they're actually starting to incorporate the memories of previous eliminated players. And I do like that Daichi is still being like kept around because he's kind of like that knowledge base. He's our encyclopedia. And so any scene he's in and he's talking and explaining things, that's he's kind of like our guide to learning more about the Jamato and everything else that's going on. And I'm still wondering because he even says, he's not a Jamato and that, like Michinaga is, so he's not a participant in this. And I was like, that is intriguing, like that he is around. How did he get brought back in? And could we see other people return, like Japan, and because who was also a really good antagonistic Kamen Rider, who I think would have a good balance with Michinaga, kind of like how Ace and Kawa are with each other. We could get almost like a similar dynamic between those two. And even Mary returning could be a thing as well. That's why I'm just like, okay, I'm wondering where this is going from those regards. Because every time I get more information, I'm like, okay, there's also eliminated characters that could be imitated by the Jamato. Because if they have their memories and someone like Shiroi, who is a good guy, if all the memories of that are incorporated into a Jamato that kind of assimilates into him, would he really be working and being on the team with the Jamatos? So it raises so many questions in my head of how this could turn out long term. So, um, the first round of the Jamato Grand Prix is starting, and it's based on destruction, which I think is really cool. So now the Jamato just have to destroy stuff, and they get points based on it. So you get 1,000 points if you destroy someone's life, 500 points for destroying homes, 300 points if you crush someone's dreams, and 200 points for damaging their health, which I thought was really cool. And then you get 10,000 points for defeating a rider. And I'm like, my favorite thing was during this whole when the round actually started, they show up to an Oni festival and they start destroying stuff, and our riders show up to stop them, and it's the revelation in Keiwa's voice when it was Buff and Azuma, and that like you told them like, hey, you guys are the antagonists in this game, and I was just like, that is true technically. There's a lot of good action sequences. We saw some Jamato riders with new forms thanks to Fever Buckles. So we got one with Boost, and then we got Monster. I thought that was a really cool look for a Jamato rider to have those suit upper torsos on. Um, and the Jamato are holding their own. And in most cases, they're getting the upper hand. Even Kale points out, like, hey, their power's on another level than before. And even the Jamato's like, yeah, let's go. Like, and I thought everything about this was cool, but that's not the main focus of this episode. This is not the bread and butter. The main everything takeaway was all the after because the round ended. And everything for the conversations between supporters, Niram, and the participants are where I really got a lot of information. Because Ace and Jean are talking, and Jean even says that how can one measly heart's desire be involved with so much drama and emotion? And Ace even asks if it's rare in the future, like for stuff like that. And Jean even points out that their world can be designed to their heart's content. When he further explains it, he says things like personality, appearance, family, lovers, occupation, and that their lives pan out like a blueprint already put together. He even points out that their lifespans are predetermined, so they don't even grieve for their dead. And I'm like, what is this future? Because we haven't really gotten any information on the future. We know now that it's the past, so that's, been unveiled. But what is this future they're from? And even more importantly, Keiwa and Kakura having a conversation about the future. And even Kakura's questioning Keiwa about what he was, because they stayed behind to help fix some of the damage. And Kakura's like, what were you fixing before? What is that? And he's like, it's a festival. He's like, what's a festival? And then he goes in, he's like, you Tokuyaki, play games, all this other stuff. And he doesn't know about it. And he's like, how do you not know about festivals? He's like, well, it's not like you're well versed in the lives of ancient civilizations yourself, are you? And I'm like, ooh. So we're getting more of a time frame because if Keiwa's time period is considered ancient civilization, this has to be really far in the future. And then my other thing is Kakura and Jean from the same future? Like, are they lining up or is it different? Like, there's so many threads to this in the future stuff that I'm like, I don't get it. Even Nan gets an interaction with Kyun and she doesn't realize it's him. She thinks it's the same guy from the, when they were having the tea before that confronted her about her wish and selfishness. And, they have some bickering back and forth. He walks up and then she's like, wait, how did he know about? And then I think it finally clicked in her head that that's Kyun. That's her supporter. But the main thing, this is the main thing. Niram and Timefire, Nan's dad, they were having a conversation. This is where I was like, okay. And they talk about how the public is becoming more aware of the Jamato, and the public awareness has reached 10%. And that, even Dad's dad says, like, I can't silence the government and the police forever about this. And Naomi brings out, this is just a plan to draw him out. They want the other driver, obviously. And he just said, I may just reset everything. And you could see Nan's dad visibly getting angry. And he said, Nan still hasn't fulfilled her wish. And he even mentions, he's like, why don't you grant it by showering your beloved daughter with genuine love? And he says, even our God has granted you the gift of a daughter, yet you still can't. And I'm reading into this as, okay, because this wasn't a daughter he was able to bring into the world his own without the goddess's, wish being gift from to him. Like maybe there's something that's causing him to not get past that barrier of actually genuine fatherly love towards her, and that's why he wants her to feel that true love one day. And this could also explain why the mother is so overprotective, because maybe they couldn't have kids. So this was a gift from the goddess, and she wants to, not risk anything happening to her, because it might, they maybe could never have another kid. So my whole thing is, mm, that's just such a big revelation for us to see as viewers. I can only imagine what's going to happen if Neon finds out. Like, that's the scene I want to see. Uh, Another cool thing is we get more interaction between Michinaga and the Jamato Toru, which is what I'm calling him because it's not really Toru. And we get some more build up, some more story, some more backstory to Michinaga, which I've been waiting for so long. We find out they were kind of like little problem causers before they got discovered by their boss and got a real job. They're walking down the street, some guys approach them, they get in a fight, and I was like, all right, so we see that, where this person, how long, like this personality trait of Michinaga Azuma just being so brash and ready to fight, and I thought it was really cool. And even Baroba shows up. She's like, how does it feel to rekindle, things with an old friend? And he says he doesn't care. He's like, just give me an item to help me freaking win this, okay? He's like, make yourself useful. Go get me a buckle. And by this time, like the episode's winding down, we get Buffa and a Jamato showing up to face Ace. Obviously, Gene shows up. He's like, let's make a 2v2. And my favorite thing was Buffa got the twin command buckle. This form, so good, so nice. As a Buffa fan, yes, I like KY, I like Tycoon, but Buffa is such a good antagonist for the show. But him in that twin command form looks so nice, and I was like, this definitely would go high up on my rankings when I rank suits again in another video. By the way, I have a video like that up on the channel right now. Go check it out. It's great. But it was really cool, and they ended on a cliffhanger with Buffa about to hit the final hit on Geats, and I was like, all right, that's how you're gonna end it. Fine. This episode gave us a lot of information, which I really enjoyed. I'm so curious about this future timeline where the supporters come from, and I'm hoping we get some Baroba backstory next. But I feel like Michinaga doesn't care enough to maybe approach her and ask for that information. So I'm hoping, and we did get the answer, off screen that one time. I'm hoping maybe Daichi in a conversation where Baroba will be the way that happens. I'm not sure. But it was a good episode, like I said. It just felt off. I think it's just because I marathon Don Brothers and King Oja premiere happened. So it's like I was. Geats feels so different tonally and from a pacing standpoint from those two Sentai shows that I think I didn't give myself enough of a palate cleanse before watching this episode. But it was a really good episode, though, from the information provided. I'm looking forward to then episode 26 and more information being revealed. But that being said, that's me. That's me talking about episode 25 of Kamen Rider Geats. Let me know in the comments below what you think. Let me know your theories, all that good stuff. I thank you guys for watching. Don't forget, hit the subscribe button. My next goal is to hit 1,000 subscribers. We're past 900. I thank every single one of you. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video.